Hello and welcome back to another Minecraft Bedrock Edition showcase and tutorial for my mini blocks or micro blocks add-on that was released not so long ago. It is of course based on the vanilla tweaks pack that you can get from Java Edition, but with a few subtle differences such as the textures are 16 by 16 instead of 8 by 8, and because these are not retextured skulls because that's not possible to do, they don't go on your head. You instead sit on them, like this. If you're not aware of this pack, or if this is the first video you've seen, please do make sure you go back to my other microblocks and mob heads pack, because they explain a lot of issues that you may have faced in terms of downloading the pack and installing it that I won't be covering in this video. This video is all about some incredible changes that I've been making to this pack to make it even better for you at home and to cover a lot of the changes and requests that have been given to me. If you don't know what these micro blocks are, they're basically blocks that you can trade from the Wandering Trader. You go to the Wandering Trader and he will offer you a random selection of 5 mini blocks which you need to buy with an emerald and whatever the mini block variant is for the actual block, and you will get 8 of those in return. You then come along and put that mini block down on the floor and marvel at how wonderful it looks and how lovely it is, and then you sit on it when you think of what you could actually possibly do with this block, because there really isn't at this point in time that much to do. Until now. And now you may be able to see in my inventory I have many dies that do many things with these blocks. Let's check it out. Grabbing myself one of the new blocks that I've created for this latest update of the pack, the beacon mini block, I'm going to pop 3 of them down here, and I'm going to select the white, grey and black dies, and you can see if I click on one of these with the white die, it will turn into a micro block. If I go with the grey die, it will turn it back into a mini block. If I click on it with the black die, it actually turns into full-size blocks. So now we can have different mini blocks at different sizes that will enable you to do a whole range of different designs in your base or however you're using this, and you can sit on all of them, and your seating position height will change depending on the mini block that you're sitting on, so it doesn't look like you're clipping inside of a block. Well, resizing them is great, but the problem with these mini blocks is they're a little bit difficult to position. We can push them around with pistons and shulker boxes, but wouldn't it be nice if we could just position them in other ways? Bring in the many coloured dies that allows us to do this. First of all, sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating when you go to put a mini block down and it doesn't go straight on the block. So using this red die, that will completely rotate it to one of the cardinal directions so it is fully square on the block. You don't ever need to use that red die again, but you can if you want to. Using the green, the blue and the yellow die, you can then switch it around on each of the different axes, so we can rotate it on the X, the Y, on the Z, and clicking each time will rotate it by 45 degrees in that angle. And you can do this with any size block. You can spin any way round that you want. You can do it with the micro blocks, you can do it with the mini blocks, you can do it with the full size blocks as well. So it's pretty powerful and pretty handy. Foxy, rotating them's great, I hear you saying, but get to the good stuff. Come on, I'm having all sorts of trouble getting my mob head on my armor stand. Come on, Foxy, make it easy for me. I put it up there, and it's just in the wrong place, Foxy, and I can't click it. Oh, jeez, yeah, it's just, how can you help me, FoxyNoTail? Well, don't worry, guys, I've got you covered with all of these ones. Yes. And I've renamed these on an anvil just for during the video, so I remember which one they are. You don't need to rename them. All you need to do is use the colours of dye, and this will work. So grab yourself your item, and then using the different colours of dyes, you can actually move them around, again on the cardinal directions, depending on which dye you use. So you can get quite a good level of accuracy where you want these things to go. And if you want this to be on your armor stand, it's very difficult to not click on the armor stand. So what I like to do is make it really big first, which gives it a bigger hitbox, allows us to position it a little bit better without actually interfering with the armor stand, get it to roughly where we want it to go, and then we can make it small again using the grey die, and there you go. You've now got it on there without needing to use a piston or a shulker box or another way of doing it, or putting your armor stand on a slab. But Foxy, can't you just make them so you can put them on your head? No, I've covered that in other videos. It's not possible to do correctly, so this is how it works. If you want to do it a different way, that's up to you. This is how mine works. Please stop asking me if we can put them on our heads. Okay, so we've looked at making them different sizes. We've looked at rotating them and positioning them, and there is one more trick up my sleeve, which should hopefully make quite a few of you happy. A lot of requests after the last video was that I made these have 8-bit textures like the ones on Vanilla Tweaks, and my response to that was that I didn't want to do that because it would be a little bit me ripping off their textures. However, VisionedPlot192 and PNAPE have come to the rescue and made us a completely new set of 8-bit textures, so when you click these with the Magenta die, we can actually change them from the full 16 by 16 resolution texture to an 8-bit texture, or 8 by 8-bit pixel texture. And you can switch them back again, so you can have all of these in whatever texture choice, whatever rotation, whatever position you like, however you want. And it's that simple. Just go around clicking them with the dies, and all of these can change however you want them to, which is absolutely fantastic. And these are completely new and unique textures made by VisionedPlot192 and PNAPE from my community in my Discord, and I want to give a huge thank you to them for doing that for me. It's absolutely fantastic, and it really has enabled us to have a great amount of variation and fun with these mini blocks. It's fantastic! Now, I haven't done anything with the mob heads at this particular point. I am planning on making these so we can rotate and position them in the future, but I'm not going to be making 8-bit variations of those as well. The other thing that we need to consider is the bug fixes in this pack from the last version. So obviously I've added in these new items here. We've got all of the leaf variants. We've also got scaffolding and a beacon, and one that I forgot to put out, which is actually glass, which you can now do some pretty interesting things with when you're using the microblocks. If you get any of these blocks, maybe let's say this ender chest here, and you want that to be inside of its own little frame, you can then put a glass block around it and it looks like you've got it encased in. And you can do that with any of these. It looks absolutely great. I think I'm going to be doing a lot of this in my own world, particularly if you're selling things at a shop, having them in their own little display cases like this, and then using the red die to actually rotate it so it doesn't look all weird. Then they're all going to be nice and square and neat on the table like that. Fantastic, but that's not bug fixes. No, the bug fixes, hang on a minute. So with the previous version, there were a couple of issues when trading with the Wandering Trader. When you were trading for a melon block, you used a melon slice instead of the melon block. That's been fixed. When you wanted a shulker block, you could get one, or a shulker box, sorry, but you needed to give him a dyed shulker box instead of an undyed one. So that's been fixed. And finally, the redstone lamp, or the lit redstone lamp, he wanted a lit redstone lamp to trade back, which obviously is not possible to get in survival. So it was impossible to get these lit redstone lamps in survival. Now that's been fixed, so it's possible to get them with a normal redstone lamp. Normally when I release one of these videos, even though I've covered it a few times before, I get a lot of people saying that when they install the pack, they're getting just black eggs and the blocks are all invisible, even though they can interact with them and sit on them. And that is normally because you have a conflicting resource pack, or your resource pack for this pack isn't at the top of your list. And going into the world settings, if you click on resource packs and go to active packs, really you want your mini blocks and your mob heads right at the top of the list, and anything else that you've got wants to be below that. However, you can see when I've got that pack on, the world actually works absolutely fine. So I'm hoping those issues are gone for good now. But if you do get those issues, just make sure you've got both the behavior pack and resource pack installed on your world, and make sure they are in the world resource packs and behavior packs and not in your global resources. In global resources, they won't work. You need to add the behavior pack to the behavior packs folder and the resource pack to the resource packs folder, which should automatically add itself when you add in the behavior pack. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all I've got time for today. So I really hope that you enjoy this update, and I really hope you enjoy these packs. If you're worried about updating your existing pack to this one, don't worry. All you've got to do is get rid of the old one and add this one over the top, and all of your blocks and everything should stay the same. But just in case there are any issues, it's always a good idea to make a backup of your world before you do that. But yeah, that should be it. So I'd like to say thank you all very much for watching, and a big thank you again to VisionedPlot192 and PNAPE for their texture files, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!